mess, so I am going to start again. I'm a sexuality educator. If you watch this channel, then you know that, because I start almost all of my videos with, "Hi, I'm Nadine Thornhill, sexuality educator." Most of my work centers around helping parents and caregivers and families communicate with their children and their teens about sex, about sexuality, and related issues in what I understand to be healthy and positive ways. There are three main components to what I do and how I work. So the first component is, learning. I have to learn things to be able to share them with other people. The second component of my work is working directly with people. So that is largely consulting or coaching, workshops, and then occasionally have speaking engagements. The third component of what I do is providing information in an entirely public forum, specifically the internet. For example, making YouTube videos and writing blog posts and writing articles. The advantage of creating public content is that, number one, it's an opportunity to potentially reach a lot of people. I've been writing a lot longer than I've been doing videos. This channel is still relatively new and my following is still very, very small. But nonetheless, these videos are just up and now people can watch them whenever, which is great. The other benefit is that when I'm writing something, or even when I'm working on a video, there's the opportunity to edit. There's the opportunity to fine-tune what I'm saying. There's the opportunity to, put it through the process, and if something isn't exactly the way I want it, I can change it. For example, like I said, I started this vlog, I didn't like it, I can just start it again. And I do that because I want what I'm saying to come across as clearly as possible, but also, if I'm being real, it's because I also want to present the material in a way that is as, professional as possible. And at least for me, part of seeming professional is having a little bit of polish on it, particularly because I work in a sexuality field, and sometimes people are, skeptical or wary of sex or sexuality, or someone who's, a sexuality professional, because, there were a lot of mixed feelings about sexuality and anything connected to it. So I just want to give people that extra level of comfort by being like, yes, I'm polished, yes, I'm prepared, I'm as prepared as possible, yes, I'm taking this seriously. But the flippity flip of that, or a consequence of that I definitely am not entirely comfortable with, is that I think that sometimes that means that I can come across to a lot of people as being this very polished person, and that that I've got it all figured out and I've got all the information, and that I don't struggle in my parenting, and I don't struggle, or I don't have any difficulties in communicating and teaching my own child about sexuality. Although I know there are definitely people out there who are just like, your work ain't shit. But then there are other people who like my work and believe what I say, which is good. That's what I want. But I just don't like the idea that it comes across that oh, I'm this amazing mom, or I totally have this part of parenting completely figured out, because that is not true. And you may be wondering right now, well, if that's not true, then why don't you ever talk about that? I can sort of explain. I don't know if this is an acceptable explanation, but it's the truth. I don't know how to write or make a video about something that I've struggled with in terms of parenting and sexuality without bringing in information about my child that he hasn't consented to being put out in a public forum, and specifically a public forum, an online public forum on the internet, where, as far as we know right now, is going to last, if not forever, you know, probably for a long time. When my kid was really young, maybe 3, I wrote this blog post about different instances where he had, you know, said something about his body or asked a question about pregnancy or something, and I had sort of swooped in initially feeling very confident and like I could handle it, but then he sort of flipped things around and I was left with my mouth hanging open, not knowing what to do or how to handle it. And, you know, it was meant to be funny and it was meant to be, you know, a way of me admitting and illustrating like, hey, like I sometimes do not know how to handle these situations either. It was really well received. It was one of my most popular blog posts, like, to that point. I think it was like a couple of years later, it cropped up somewhere. And I suddenly realized like, oh no, I regret writing this now because it's out there in internet land, and you know, it's okay now because my kid is still little, but it's like, what happens if in, you know, 8 or 10 years when he's a teenager and he's in high school, like what if a friend finds this? What if, you know, someone he has beef with finds this and shows it to other people and he's completely embarrassed? And I didn't even think about that when I first did it. And I realized, yeah, like that's not fair. It's not fair for me to pull his learning and, you know, his own journey discovering, you know, with his own sexual development and sexual learning into my career because he didn't sign on for that. So I'm like, yeah, I can't do that anymore. I don't think it's okay for me to do that. That's why my personal parenting foibles are not really part of the public content that I put out, because I haven't really figured a way that I can talk about that without talking about my son and, you know, things that are really personal to him. And I think that he has a right to, you know, do his own sexual learning and discovery, you know, privately, if down the road when he's older and he, you know, jumps on the internet, which I'm sure he will, because almost everyone does these days. If he chooses to share stuff about himself, then I certainly will support him in that. But I don't feel like I can really share stuff that personal about my kid. I know it's not as powerful as having, you know, specific stories that you can relate to, but please trust me when I say that I'm like, I think every other parent, most other parents, you know, it's hard. It's a cliche, but it is literally the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. And some days, like, I rise to the occasion and I bomb at it. I'm an amazing mom. Some days I suck, even when it comes to, you know, helping my kid, you know, navigate sexuality and sexual development. Sometimes I know what to do. Sometimes I don't know what to do. And probably the worst, sometimes I know what to do and I don't do it. Because sometimes I'm just a failure at stuff. So if, you know, you're watching this channel or you're reading my stuff online, I hope that's something that you'll keep in mind, is that, yeah, you know, I try to have my content be relatively smooth and polished, or as polished as I can make it. I know it's not perfect at all. But that doesn't mean that that's what my life is, because it is not. I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much. Like I said, I have a small YouTube following. Like, I do not care. I'm so grateful to, like, every single one of you who has subscribed, and every time, you know, someone leaves a comment or asks a question or starts a conversation or like likes the video or shares the video, it means so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, I'm so thrilled that anyone is watching me. This is amazing. And that's all. I've been rambling for a long time. So I hope you have a good day, a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye. Today, I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite books, The Guide to Getting It On. This is a big, heavy, fat, monster-sized book because it's a really comprehensive resource.